Coronavirus mortgage relief programs, you've heard a lot about them, but will they actually help you if you're experiencing financial hardship during the COVID-19 pandemic? I'm Linda Mumma, member of the communications team with the Stanislaus County Office of Emergency Services. You've been asking a lot of questions about this, so we checked in with the local expert to weigh in.
Hi, my name is Sandra Yates, and I'm a loan officer with Scenic Oaks Funding. Some common questions are, we have clients that are maybe in the middle of purchasing a home right now, and they're not sure if their loan is still going to close, or they're concerned about their employment, or guidelines changing, or things like that. And so I would encourage you that if you're in a contract right now and in the middle of purchasing a property, that you maintain contact with your finance company, make sure they know the status of your employment. There are some provisions that allow, even if you are impacted by COVID, but returning to work, once the stay-at-home orders are lifted, that doesn't necessarily inhibit you from buying the home. It may just put it on pause temporarily. So for the most part, the best idea if you're in the middle of trying to purchase a home right now is to just make sure that you stay informed with your lender on rules and guidelines and keep them updated on any changes that might have occurred from when you first applied to maybe your status now. But everyone's goal is to obviously move forward as quickly through all of this as we can within what we can control. I know a lot of people are hearing a great deal of information about the stimulus package that was passed, and clients get excited when they hear the thought of missing a mortgage payment. So the first thing is to 100% get in contact with your servicing company before you miss a mortgage payment. There's not an automatic rule. There's not a requirement of how the bank is supposed to handle that delayed payment. So a few things to consider are, if you do need the forbearance, that's what it's there for. If your job has been impacted, if perhaps you've gotten sick yourself or family members, or even if you're at home having to care for your kids because school is closed, daycare is closed. So there's all kinds of allowances in there, and certainly encourage you to contact your servicer. The flip side is we have to remember that these are not essentially free mortgage payments. There's a few different ways that lenders can handle it. Some of the ways are, for example, let's just say that you need to miss your May mortgage payment and your lender gives you a 90-day reprieve. They're not an automatic, at the end of 90 days, those were free payments. It essentially means maybe the lender in month number 4 wants that 3 months plus that current month due. Maybe that lender will take that total amount of missed payments and divide it over 12 months in order to recoup those payments and keep your loan current. Some companies will allow it to be added to the back end of your loan. So there's no automatic rule as far as the lender has to do this in terms of giving you the opportunity to miss the payment if you're eligible, but there's a lot of different ways that it can be factored in. So I would encourage you to call the servicing company, make sure you understand what's being offered to you, and then if needed, then seek the counsel of another trusted advisor to make sure you understand the paperwork. Because what we wouldn't want you to do is perhaps do a forbearance. Maybe you could have lowered your payment by a refinance or another method that could lower your payment long term, because remember, none of it is free money, so at some point the money is going to be due. The order that you do things will be very important, and if you do call your servicing company and maybe you do qualify for a refinance now, a rate savings could be more of a savings long term for you. So when you do go back to work, you're not having to replenish your checking and savings accounts and then also have an increased payment. So I would definitely say, especially with where rates have been, it's a great time to just do a mortgage checkup. I know a lot of us are reevaluating a lot of different things. What kind of life we had before we went in? Are we too busy? Do we have our priorities straight? Are we budget conscious? Sometimes we don't really take a look at those things until we have to. And I would say there's no real excuse now, because we all have plenty of time, right? That now would be a fantastic time to make sure you know all of your options. For the most part, there's some protection in there for renters as there are for homeowners. Again, meant to be helpful to those that are really impacted economically by this virus, right? And so if you are renting, I would also suggest that you get in contact with your landlord, whether it's a management company or an individual, and that you let them know your situation. I know our goal ultimately is for all of us to just kind of unite as a community and do what we can, but realizing that sometimes our inability to pay may then impact our landlord's ability to pay their mortgage, for example. So if you do go to your landlord, then your landlord then can go to their servicing servicing company of their mortgage and address that they haven't been able to make a payment perhaps, or don't have rental income coming in, and see what their options are at that point. So I think that just as a whole, if we all can just communicate what our situations are, so then that gives the next person that may be impacted the ability to handle it on their end as well, as we just, can get through this all together.
To reiterate, before you make any moves, make sure to do your research and to also double check any information your mortgage provider or lender tells you.